hope your week went well. Now that you have an understanding of how research is done, as well as the basis for biopsychology, we'll begin looking at various other aspects of psychology. This week, you'll be learning about consciousness, the stages of sleep specifically, and the effects of a lack of sleep can have on an individual. You'll also be learning about sensation and perception. How do we make sense of the stimulation that we experience daily? Here are the assignments that are due this week. You have a sleepwalking defense, exam number 1, which is chapters 1 through 4, discussion board number 2, bottom up or top down, and quiz number 4, sensation and perception key concepts quiz. Now, for the sleepwalking defense, you'll be using the APA formatted paper you created for the extra credit assignment to submit your work in that way. I'll be looking at those shortly, and if there are adjustments you need to make, I'll let you know in the rubric or the assignment notes. Okay? Now, as far as the assignment, what personal experiences can you share when you have not gotten the amount needed of sleep and the effects it had on you and those around you? Tell me, when you haven't received enough sleep, what did you experience? What did you feel? How did you act? And what effect did that have on others around you? Okay. Are there any personal experiences with parasomnias that you can share? Now, if you don't have any personal experiences with parasomnia, have you witnessed anyone experiencing parasomnia? Maybe your brother or sister did some sleepwalking. Okay, that would be a parasomnia. If not, have you ever been startled awake? Have you ever been asleep and just woke up like this? Okay, what happened? How did you feel, right? Or have you ever slept through an event happening while you're sleeping that you had no idea about? I will tell you that coming from California, I slept through a few earthquakes and found out about it the next day. All right, what are your thoughts on Scott Falater and his claim to have killed his wife while sleepwalking? You're going to be watching a video, and there are going to be a few videos actually. The first one is Scott Falater, and he claims that he was sleepwalking when he killed his wife. You're going to be watching arguments of the case. We're not going to be saying whether he's guilty or not. What I would like for you to consider is the entire situation. What did you learn in your text that would tell you this is something that could have happened or something that could not have happened? What did Scott Falater deal with that could affect whether he was sleepwalking or not? Okay. Why do you think some murder cases have been successful in using the sleepwalking defense, such as Kenneth Parks? Again, another video. Kenneth Parks was another one who had a sleepwalking murder case. And what I want you to be able to convey to me is that you understand how sleep and parasomnias affect sleepwalking and our capabilities when we are doing that. Okay, you can use additional articles to back up or support your claims. It's important that you understand what happens during the sleep state, okay, and what it means to be sleepwalking. Now, do you believe it's plausible for someone to commit murder while sleepwalking? Okay, using the information from the text or the articles, I want you to answer this question. Make a clear argument for or against homicidal sleepwalking. Okay, what would it take to convince you that someone truly was in a sleepwalking state when they unintentionally murdered someone? Could you be convinced? Keep in mind that people do drive and perform routine chores when in a sleepwalking state. So how might committing murder be similar and or different? Which side do you choose? Okay. What other information can be used to support or refute the sleepwalking defense? Is there any other information that you could include in the argument that supports your side? Okay. Now, there's more articles that you can look at. Now, keep in mind, whenever you are using information, either word for word or in your own words, if it did not come from your own head, you need to cite it both in the body of work, such as sleepwalking is, you need to cite where you got that information right at that sentence, which is called in-text citation. And you also need to include the article or the web page or wherever you got that information in the reference section. Both of those work together so that if someone wanted to recreate your thoughts or read more about where you got that information, they'd be able to find it. That's why you need both of them, okay? Now, for the bottom up, top down discussion board, you're going to share how top down and bottom up processing influences you. Think of how your processing affects your confidence, your self concept, and interaction with others. Remember that top down is you've had the experience of these things, whereas bottom up is this is brand new to you. You're using your senses to figure things out. Okay. Think back to the start of the course. Consider your confidence level and your perception or your first impression of the course and or the classmates as you read through everyone's introduction discussion board. What kinds of information were you processing? Did this include bottom up or top down processing? How and why? Was it I'm just barely getting to know this thing, and so I'm just using my senses, my vision, my hearing, my touching the keyboard? I don't know. That would be bottom up. Okay. Now, if you're using top down because maybe you've taken an online course already and you have an expectation or an understanding of things, that might be a top down experience, right? Now, what you're going to do after that is you're going to share your observations with two classmates. You're going to be, after you post, you're going to be able to go in and see what other classmates have said, and you're going to go ahead and respond to them. Now, your initial post should be between 250 and 350 words. Okay. Your response does not need to be a long reply, but it should add to the topic your peer is speaking about. In other words, I just don't want to see you say, I like what you said. Right? Or I agree with your ideas. Okay. I want you to bring in something new to add to the conversation. Now, remember, you still need to include citations from the resources to support your assertions, both in text and a reference section. Okay. All within the post. Now, remember, if you're using, let's say, some information from the text, when you are responding in a discussion board, you still need to put that in text citation. And below, you need to have a reference section that tells us where that came from. Okay. So if you have any questions, be sure to contact me because I'm more than happy to help. All right. Everybody have a great week.